what's up you guys, this is MCLegoboy here with a review of the latest 4 story reels that were released actually a week ago. Yeah, I know. So, yeah, it's a little late, but I had to get that giant truck review out for you guys because I had been promising that for so long. So, anyway, the latest story reel has to do with the Bad Batch. They are Clone Force 99, and that is a kind of a shout out to the to the fans of or out of respect, I guess, for Clone 99. You know what? Why am I even trying with this? Let's just stand them up because, you know. Anyway, because, like, everybody else is standing up perfectly fine because they're not being stupid with legs. I don't know why I forced myself to do this. But anyway, but yeah, that is just kind of a shout out to Clone 99 from Season 3. Yeah, it is really cool. And apparently these guys, the Bad Batch, they've been around forever, but they didn't make it into any episodes until now, and even then, technically, they're not even in any episodes because these episodes have only been animated, they haven't been rendered. So yeah, this video is going to be full of spoilers, just letting you guys know. I have got 6 links in the description. It should probably take you guys like 3 hours to watch all of this stuff because there's 4 22-minute episodes. There are and then there are 2 things from Celebration that have been uploaded by Star Wars on YouTube, and one of them is a half-hour long, the other one's an hour long. So you factor in all of that and you get about 3 hours of viewing stuff. So yeah, we're going to be talking about the episode reels, and then also some of the stuff that they were talking about at Celebration, because I think it's worth talking about. So yeah. So first things first, we're starting off on a planet that I do not remember the name of because it was a week ago. Seriously, I should probably be planning this out more, but I have not gotten around to recording until today, which is supposed to be the day that I'm supposed to upload something, and I don't have anything that is ready to be uploaded today, so oops. But yeah, we're going to be talking about those episodes. I've already mentioned that. So we start off on planet somewhere I do not remember. Trying to remember like what the alien species is, and even then I'm not sure. But you're seeing that the Republic is not necessarily winning this battle, and the reason why is because Admiral Trench has had the plans of all of their attacks like right from the get-go. So something's wrong. Well, they call in the Bad Batch. The idea comes from Mace Windu, of all people, I think. And then Obi-Wan is like, what? And then Anakin gets to see the guys that show up. And there's actually 4 of these dudes. And these are not accurate representations of them. They are my shoddiest, purest versions of them, because I don't want to rip apart my Shadow ARF Trooper. And also, it was the best I could do. So, that's what you get to deal with. But yeah, you get these 4 dudes. One of them is Hunter. Another is Wrecker. And he reminds me of a character from My Little Pony, so you're just going to have to bear with me for this for a second. He reminds me of this guy.
Bring it on! Yeah!
You've got Crosshair and Tech. And really awesome guys. Hunter, he reminds me a lot of Rambo. I mean, he even carries a Rambo knife. Now, in the interviews or not the interview, but the panel at Celebration, they were saying that he actually had more of the some details that harken to Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in Predator. I could kind of see it after they said that, but I mean, he's got like this giant dark splotch on his face and stuff like that. And I'm trying to think of what necessarily made him a Bad Batch, and I guess it's because he didn't quite look the same as everybody else. I'm not quite sure, but I mean, he's got like the full-on 80s mullet. He totally reminds me of Rambo because he's got the Rambo knife. He's got like stuff splattered on his face. He's got a headband going around his mullet. I mean, it's perfect. Dude, it is so cool looking, and he's the leader guy. Then you've got Wrecker. He is just a whole lot bigger than the other guys. He's essentially like the Incredible Hulk, as they've come to call him, because I mean, he does end up lifting a crashed Republic gunship. Like, what?
I'm all muscles! Yeah!
Tech is just insanely smart, but he's a little scrawny. So, clearly not fit for duty. And then also, Crosshair, he is just very, very thin. He's probably perfectly fine when it comes to strength or something like that, but he just, his metabolism, I don't know, there's something wrong with each one of these dudes, and instead of just getting kind of thrown away like the Spartans did with their deformed babies, if you guys didn't know, that's what they did. Well, I guess the Kaminoans, they decided, okay, well, these guys are not clearly as deformed as 99 was. Let's see what we can do with them, try and enhance some of these skills and things like that. So, yeah, but yeah, Hunter's the leader. Wrecker is the muscle. Tech is your really smart guy. I mean, he's hacking into systems and all these things. He's opening doors and doing all this other stuff. And then Crosshair is your sniper. And he's always referred to as Cross. But yeah, it was like a really cool batch of clones, and they finally made it into some episodes after somebody that had been working on the show, he's like, oh yeah, and then these guys, they come in and they save the day, and I was like, but they don't fit in the episode. No, they finally fit into an episode, and the show has been canceled. It's a terrible shame. It really is, because they were some cool guys, and we only got to see crappier versions of their armor. Now there are pictures where you can see the designs of them, so who knows, maybe we'll see them at a convention someday. Somebody will have made the entire batch of them in armor and like fully finished and stuff like that, and that'd be awesome. But as it stands right now, we don't really know what these guys are necessarily supposed to look like, aside from like a front, a back, a side, and a 3/4 view. So, on to the episodes, the next episodes. I don't remember the names of these at all, but eventually they find that, also, Rex and Jesse, who is now an ARC Trooper. I'm cool with him being an ARC Trooper, but I wanted to see that actually happen, because what the heck, like, dude, Jesse is now an ARC Trooper. Congratulations to him, but when did that happen? Because I'm pretty sure the last time that we saw him, it was in, it wouldn't, I don't even think it would have been the Utapau arc, because I think that one, yeah, that one was purely just Anakin and Obi-Wan running around. Like, the last time that we saw Jesse was most likely in the arc, like the first episode of that Order 66 arc. So, yeah, like, when did he become an ARC trooper? I mean, that's cool and all, but I want to know how it happened. Come on. Especially since, like, we no longer have Fives or Echo to have as our ARC troopers. And even though Echo is alive, because that's what these episodes are about, is finding Echo. Like, they find that there was a transmission that was left in a separatist base that they were raiding, and it ended up being Echoes, and so then they have to fly all the way out to somewhere, and they are picking him up after he's been experimented on, very much like the people that were in the first Clone Wars show. I do not remember what it was called. Oh man, what were they called? The Novans, I think. The Novan Warriors. The guys that Wat Tambor and the other Techno-Union guys were experimenting on giving him, like, these guns on the side. Well, now he's got, like, this computer arm, and he's got wires all over the place. He's able to hack into things now, and he's extremely malnourished. He almost looks a bit like Neo from The Matrix, if you've seen that, when he first wakes up. I mean, just, like, tubes all over the place, and little plugins all over his body and stuff like that, so. But yeah, really cool episodes. By the way, this is not my design of Wat Tambor. This is Separatist Sympathizer. It's more of his design than mine, because I don't think I actually have a single bit of design in there that's mine. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's necessarily important. Yeah, they meet up with Wat Tambor, and there's, like, these little pterodactyl type droids, and they're flying around, and they almost do another one of those scenarios where you've got people that are defenseless. They don't want anything to do with your war type of stuff, like the little turtle guys on Felucia, and they end up fighting back and winning. Clones win the day and stuff like that, and then they get medals at the end. I mean, it's just kind of how it is. And we've also got a whole bunch of stuff with Mace Windu and Obi-Wan in that arc too, where, like, droids are coming in all over the place, and then Echo, he just fries the system that is relaying to all the droids, and they all just fall down. No, I think he does, like, a massive droid popper type deal with them, I think, because they're not controlled by a central computer anymore. We have to find better ways to kill 100,000 battle droids all in one sweep without destroying the central hub that they are in, because, you know, that was already done. And that's how the Avengers won in their movie, in the first Avengers movie. So it's been done before. We don't need to have that happen again. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. And what else was there in that arc? I don't know. I mean, they were just really good episodes. I only saw them once, so maybe I should try and rewatch them again. One thing that does bug me, though, is that while these episodes are up on StarWars.com, how long are they going to be up on StarWars.com? Like, is somebody going to make sure that they're always there? Because unlike the Utapau arc, which came in the Blu-ray release of the Lost Missions episodes, these, like, unless we're going to be getting more story reels in the future, and we get, like, the super secret Lost Missions or something like that, which would also end up including the Utapau story reels, I guess, just so that everybody had a better chance of getting them. I don't know, or it's like, it's just a DVD of just story reels or something like that. Like, what am I going to do when these things are no longer on StarWars.com? Because unless they've been uploaded to other websites, which I'm pretty sure they have, for legal viewing, of course, then, you know, like, these episodes could be lost forever, and my links in the description will be dead. So, it's hard to know what's going to happen with these episodes, because they were really good episodes, and it almost makes you wonder, it's like, so how come the Jar Jar Binks episodes and the Clovis arc in the Lost Missions were before this stuff? Like, I know that the cutoff area, because they say in the panel, was Yoda's arc in Lost Missions. It's like, okay, from here and earlier, we're going to be able to finish all of these, but everything else, like, we just can't do it. And, you know, I feel like going on a rant as to why Disney owning Lucasfilm is just a terrible thing in that respect. Because, I mean, like, it's got to be something to where it was, it has to be a thing where it was a contract with Warner Brother or something like that, because something does not add up to where you're able to continue working on episodes to give us little things like this, like the story reels, but to where you have to cancel the show. It had to have been some sort of a contract or something like that that nobody could get out of for some reason, even though we have Disney money now. And we're able to hire, like, James Earl Jones for Darth Vader, and able to have Frank Oz as Yoda in Rebels, when we could never have Frank Oz for Clone Wars. It blows my mind that we're able to do this stuff now with Rebels, but it's like we can't get finalized episodes, or, you know, like, get a return to Clone Wars or something like that. I don't care if it's just on released on Netflix or something like that, because they'll eventually get released on Blu-ray or whatever, and I would have already watched them legally and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. Rebels is okay. I still am meaning to make a video based on that show. I was gonna do it after season 1, but I didn't have, like, any of the sets. I've got 5 of the 6 main characters from the show, and no villains. Really, I've got 1 stormtrooper, that's it. And, like, I would do a video very similar to this, but it's still, like, oh my gosh, come on. And it's like, we can't get final episodes of Clone Wars, especially with as many as they were going to be coming out with. I guess this is now a time to transition to the other figures that you're seeing up here, not just these ones. So among the panel stuff that they were talking about, they showed some more kind of story reel things from other episodes. The first ones that they showed were Boba Fett and Cad Bane with Tusken Raiders, or Sand People, whichever ones you want to call them. I'm going to call them Tusken Raiders because that's kind of how I've known them. But anyway, Cad Bane's got a new design, cool looking design. I didn't go through the trouble of trying to make it because I'm trying to be as purist as I can, and it's really not all too much different from his design that is in Lego form. I mean, it's obviously different, but it's enough to where it's like, okay, whatever. Yeah, it looks cool. And then Boba Fett, they were actually going to give him the Boba Fett armor. The only thing that he was going to be missing was the jetpack, the little kind of cape thing that he's got, and kind of like the tassels, like the Wookiee braids or something like that he's also got. But I mean, for the most part, he was going to be like green armor with yellow shoulder and knee pads and like brown belt. I mean, it was like full on, just that's what he was going to look like. He was going to look just like that. I don't know how I necessarily feel about that. I would have kind of preferred him to almost kind of have like old Jango armor or something. Like he's using the dual pistols, like his dad's pistols or something like that. And he still has the rangefinder going on. And it's like maybe he decided to paint it green because that's what he wanted to do. That's like stuff where it's like, okay, why did he change it to green? It's not like he found some green armor somewhere, did he? Because you kind of see that in episode 2, like there's a few extra pieces of armor than just the silver stuff that Jango has. But Boba was supposed to be kidnapped by the Tusken Raiders so that they could possibly find whatever bounty that they were out for. But I mean, there were going to be just bounty hunter centric episodes, which is awesome because I think I speak for everybody when I say that we love the underworld. Us Star Wars fans, like, we love what's going on in the underworld, and so seeing bounty hunters do stuff is cool. Even though the show is called The Clone Wars, and yeah, that's fine and all, we love seeing other episodes that don't have to deal with clones too. Then there was more that eventually we would find ourselves trying to capture Count Dooku. And so Bosk is there, and Latz Ratzi is there, I think that's her name. And Cad Bane, and Embo. Sugi might have been there too. I'm not 100% certain on that. I don't think she was, though. And then there's that, the one robot guy that was hanging out with Boba Fett and Bosk and all those guys, and Dengar in that episode arc. In season 5 or 4? No, it was 4. But they were all showing up to capture Count Dooku, and so they showed a story reel of them attacking him. So that was really cool. There was also more that eventually we got to the stuff that had to do with the Bad Batch and how they were going to be on Kashyyyk. So we were actually going to travel to Kashyyyk and kind of get some of that relationship that Yoda has with the Wookiees. Because, I mean, it's only mentioned in episode 3. We don't actually get to see him and stuff like that. It's like, we don't see what this relationship is between Yoda and the Wookiees. So we were at least going to travel to Kashyyyk, which I was cool with. Like, I don't mind. I think as long as it wasn't like a big scale battle, like say that they were just going in to destroy a base or something like that on Kashyyyk that the Separatists had put there, that would give me enough reason. Because I mean, at this point we're basically just before Revenge of the Sith. Like, in the timeline, we are pretty much, like, right there because of character designs. I mean, Anakin, he's got the longer hair. He's not wearing another glove on his left hand. Obi-Wan's the same way. He's not wearing gloves. So, I mean, like, we're getting very, very close to Revenge of the Sith. And they even said in the panel, it was like the initial plan was to go on with the show as long as they could. That's actually been stated long before this panel. But they actually had planned to basically cross over past from the beginning of episode 3, even like a little past Order 66. Now, part of me is like, okay, cool, but at the same time, because, I mean, that movie is like 9 months long at the most, because Padme is pregnant, and humans, they are pregnant for about 9 months. There's a whole bunch that can happen in 9 months. But at the same time, it's like, well, now I've got to have episodes before and after one another in my lineup of things, so it's like, I still kind of like my idea more of, you find a certain point and you actually go back in time so that we have the full Clone Wars going on instead of just like that awkward beginning on Christophsis. It's like, how much time was there in between the end of episode 2 and the beginning of Clone Wars with Christophsis? Like, what happened in that area? I'm not as concerned about what was happening between Battle of Coruscant and Order 66. Like, I'm not concerned about that chunk of time. I'm more concerned about this chunk of time. Is like, what led up to that? Like, how did Rex and Anakin meet? How did Anakin become a Jedi? I know we had that in the Jenny Tartakovsky stuff, but that is considered non-canon now, and while I still like to consider it canon, at the same time, it's like, man, they are retconning a whole bunch of stuff now. I can't say that most of this is canon anymore, so yeah. But anyway, the Bad Batch was also going to be on Kashyyyk, so it's like, man, why did Disney have to buy Lucasfilm and cancel Clone Wars for Rebels? Because, I mean, I have a feeling it's more of, like, an issue with there being some sort of a contract in place or something like that that kept this from going on. Because they're able to make 7, 8, and 9, and they're hoping to do a 5th Indiana Jones movie. It's all just because they went in on the action that had already taken place before they owned Lucasfilm. That's really the only reason why we're getting the sequel trilogy and at some point getting a 5th Indiana Jones movie. It's just because Disney wants in on the action. It's not because they want to continue on anything else. Or at least not Disney as a business. Maybe people at Lucasfilm, they're like full on, yeah man, let's do it because there was talk of this already to begin with. But at the same time, it's like, it's just because Disney wants in on the action. And it's like, I don't know, man. I guess it's because I'm still in agony because they canceled Clone Wars. And I think everybody that was a fan of Clone Wars is going to be like, yeah, I agree, because canceling Clone Wars was stupid. So, yeah. And so now that we've talked for over half an hour, let's kind of wrap this up. There was a shot or two. Not really a shot or two, but like some concept art thrown up on a wall too that dealt with some Mandalorians. So we were at least going to have an ending to the Mandalorian stuff that was going on. I'm pretty sure that this was going to be the end. And if you guys remember back when I did the whole Utapau stuff, when that stuff came out, I linked to a blog that Dave Filoni had thrown into, or had thrown up on StarWars.com's blog. And he showed some concept art of Ahsoka and Bo-Katan. I think that's her name. I sure hope that that's her name. But yeah, it's Satine Kryze's sister, Bo. I know that Bo was part of her name, so I'm just gonna call her Bo. That they had been drawn in the same picture together. Now, I don't know if that necessarily means that Ahsoka was heading to Mandalore at some point. Maybe at some point in story ideas, that's what happened. I'm not sure. But, you know, I'm pretty sure that they were basically going to finish up all the stuff that happened with Mandalore, and we're probably never going to go back there again. There was also a story reel of Ahsoka. This is actually going out of order now, because I want to talk about Asajj and Quinlan Vos last for longer reasons, but we were also going to see a few episodes of Ahsoka on our own. And, you know, honestly, like, as much as I've said, it's like, oh, dude, Ahsoka sucks, I hate her, and all this stuff, I don't hate Ahsoka. It's just, I hated her as an idea being Anakin's Padawan, because it messed things up for me. Because it's like, Anakin's not supposed to have a Padawan. That's not his bag, I guess. That's not how things work. Alright? Like, it makes sense from a standpoint of him forming an attachment and not being able to let it go, and that helps him transition more to the dark side and stuff like that. And I was like, still, stop. Just, no, don't give him an apprentice. But every time that she was on her own, she was totally cool. Like, I'm still with season 3's season finale. Like, that was one of their best finales. I don't know what. And season 5, it was really, really good too. And they were Ahsoka arcs, so it's like, I mean, yeah. But, I mean, when she does stuff on her own, she does a really good job, because she's not a bad character. She's just placed in a bad situation being Anakin's Padawan, which makes me hate her. So, yeah. But we were seeing some stuff of her being on her own, and I was cool with that. She even had a character redesign, which also cool with that too. Maybe at some point she found her way to Onderon and was warning Lux not to get involved with the Republic. I don't know. The story reel showed her on a speeder bike malfunctioning on Coruscant. And now we finally get to the stuff where, like, we have Asajj Ventress with hair, with, like, punk rocker hair, which I'm cool with, and Quinlan Vos being on a mission together. Apparently, this had gotten so expanded out crazy, it lasted like 8 episodes. They were going to waste almost an entire third of a season now, unless these episodes were awesome. They were going to waste a third of one of their seasons of the show for one arc. That has never happened with Clone Wars. I think the largest arc there was 5 episodes. And the only reason why I say 5 episodes is because in season 4... Oh wait, no. Never mind, actually. But I think at some point there was like one episode that kind of tied into 4 more at some point. Maybe it was the Geonosis stuff, where you had Clovis and his stuff, and then those episodes went on for 4 episodes, went on way longer than it needed to. Because, I mean, for me, usually, like, with the 4 episodes, it's like, okay, you get to the 3rd episode, it's really awesome, and then the 4th one is just kind of a letdown. I'm not going to give examples, because that requires thinking, and when I think, that's dead air, I guess, when you think about it, like, in a radio sense, it's like, that's kind of dead air, and so I'm just wasting time on this camera. But I guess for me, like, the best example is the Mortis Trilogy, and that was only 3 episodes long, and it's like, first episode, okay, cool. 2nd episode, I mean, it was still good, and 3rd episode, I was like, I don't care, man. Like, this just does not necessarily interest me. And it's too predictable. It's like, okay, well, the daughter's dead, now we gotta kill the son and the father. I mean, too much. Just too much. Oh, good news, though. I guess as a spoiler, if you haven't watched those, the videos in the description, Trench is back. from his days being in that Order 66 arc from the Lost Missions, and Anakin kills him. Finally, we kill Trench. Like, he didn't need to come back to begin with, but at least he's dead. But, yeah. So this thing that I'm supposed to be talking about at length with Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Vos has not been happening. But yeah, she's got like this really cool bow and arrow thing, and I guess they're just on a mission together. I mean, we don't get to see much, and it's coming out as a book later this year, like very soon. So I guess kind of cool. I never did get those Darth Maul comics, so I have no idea like what happened with him. That's something that I would love to see back in like at some point when they decide it's like, okay, we've got enough people working on Rebels, they can do something on their own for a season. Let's take all of our stories that we didn't have wrapped up in any sort of way, and also take the stuff from the books and the comics that came out, and let's just like finish animating all of this stuff. Let's get the voice actors back in and everything like that, because like this one with Asajj Ventress, like it wasn't Nika Futterman. It was just temp voice for everything. It was like, okay, fine, cool. You guys can do that. It doesn't really bother me. But, I mean, that's a big reason why we're not getting more of these story reels right now, is because it's all temp voice work, which is too bad. But, you know, you never know. Maybe we'll get more story reels in the future, and it'll be awesome. So, but yeah, maybe at some point we will just get a whole bunch of story reels all released on a DVD or something like that, and I would be totally cool with that. And I don't know, man, it's just Rebels, it was good for its first season. Second season looks like it's going to be even better. Well, it has to be better, because just based on all the things that we're seeing from the preview. But man, like Clone Wars, that's the show. And now that I've talked for as long as I have, I think final words must be said, and I don't remember what they were going to be, so maybe that's for the best, because I've been talking for nearly 40 minutes. So yeah. Trying to think now, like, was there anything else that I needed to say? I don't know. But yeah, it was like, I have no idea what happened to Darth Maul, and I have no idea what was going to be going on between Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Vos. I don't think anybody does. Except for the writer of that novel and the people that read that novel once it's out. But I would kind of love to have just a whole bunch of story reels. I remember now. So somebody, because they had like question and answer time, somebody asked the question, is the Bad Batch Arc Canon? Because, and same thing with kind of the Utapau arc, is like, because these things are not fully rendered, how canon are they? Personally, for me, I say it's canon 100%. Like, I don't care if it's fully rendered or not. I'm just glad that the story happened, it came out, and that it's part of Star Wars. It's the canon, alright? And not part of the whole Legends canon thing. It was like, even though it is, because technically it's Clone Wars at the same time. So, things are confusing. But yeah, like, somebody asked that, and Dave Filoni was like, well, I like to consider it canon, but I mean, at the same time, I guess it couldn't at the same time, because it wasn't a finished episode. In a way, it could be retconned at any moment. That's not his 100% words, but still, it's like, yeah, I kind of agree with you. Like, at some point, they could decide to just overwrite all of this, and I don't think that's going to happen, but at the same time, it's like, what if that happens? Because why couldn't it happen? It wasn't necessarily officially released anywhere. With the Umbara arc, it was only released on the Blu-ray version of the Lost Missions, and I think that's more of just like bonus features and stuff. I still haven't actually gotten around to watching them on that disc, so I don't really know what's up with that. I'm waiting for my dad to get off of school for the summer so that we can just watch all of these things that we've been having sitting on and waiting for us to watch for over a year on some of these things. But yeah, like, just it could just be like a special features thing on the disc, and it's like, well, I mean, does that count as canon or not? I like to say it is, only because they were finished episodes, they just weren't rendered. It's not like we're having temp voice in here and we're only getting 2 episodes that only half of the work has been done on them or something like that. We're still having like storyboards pop up. I mean, like, it's actually D. Bradley Baker for the most part. It's just all D. Bradley Baker's voice in these episodes. So, I mean, like, I am totally cool with saying that it is canon. So, anyway, I believe I've talked way more than at length on the topics that we have been discussing today. So, this has been MCLegoboy with a review of the Bad Batch arc and some of the celebration panels for the Clone Wars. See you guys.